Welcome back, Lincoln Currency. Have you ever held a penny in your hand and thought, could this be worth a fortune? What if I told you that one of the most ordinary looking coins in your pocket change, a simple 1984 1-cent coin bearing Abraham Lincoln's profile, might actually be worth hundreds of thousands, or in rare reports, even hundreds of millions of dollars? Today, we're diving into one of the most fascinating stories in U.S. coin collecting, the 1984 Lincoln cent. We'll explore its origins, why collectors are going crazy over it, how to identify rare versions, and whether the rumored $654 million penny actually exists, or is just another numismatic legend. Let's start at the beginning. The year is 1984. Ronald Reagan is president, the Macintosh computer is born, and Michael Jackson is moonwalking across the globe. Amid all that, the U.S. Mint produces billions of pennies, specifically 1984 Lincoln cents. In fact, over 10 billion of them were minted across 3 facilities: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Now, to the average person, this penny might seem unremarkable. It has the familiar profile of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, a design by Victor David Brenner that has been in use since 1909. On the reverse, you'll find the Lincoln Memorial, which replaced the wheat ears in 1959. But here's the twist. Not all 1984 Lincoln cents are created equal. For coin collectors and experts, the 1984 Lincoln cent has become legendary, not because of its sheer volume, but because of a small number of these coins that contain a striking and rare error: the double die obverse. The 1984 double die penny is one of the most well-known and sought-after varieties in modern coin collecting. What makes it special is a dramatic doubling visible in Abraham Lincoln's ear. It looks as if he has a second earlobe, clearly visible without magnification on high-grade examples. This isn't a post-mint damage or a worn die, it's a genuine double die error that occurred during the hubbing process at the mint. For context, a double die occurs when the coin die itself is improperly manufactured, receiving multiple impressions from the hub in slightly different positions. As a result, every coin struck with that die will show the doubling. In the case of the 1984 double die cent, the error is clean, dramatic, and undeniable. That's why it's worth money. Big money. So, how much are we talking about? Let's get into market value. Circulated examples of the 1984 double die penny can fetch anywhere from $150 to $500, depending on condition. Uncirculated examples in mint state condition can command $1,000 to $3,000. If you find a truly pristine coin, say, MS67 red, you could be looking at $10,000 or more at auction. The finest known specimens are graded by PCGS and NGC, and they regularly turn heads in collector circles. But then there's the wild side of the internet, the part where headlines scream about a single 1984 penny being worth $654 million. So, is that real? Let's pause and dig into that claim. The truth is, no 1984 penny has ever sold for $654 million. That number likely comes from hoaxes, clickbait articles, or misunderstandings. There are online listings for so-called rare error pennies, with outrageous price tags on eBay, Etsy, and other marketplaces. But just because someone lists a penny for $654 million doesn't mean anyone is paying that amount. In reality, number 1984 Lincoln cent has ever sold for more than 5 figures. Still impressive for a 1-cent coin, but not life-changing, billionaire territory. However, there are other rare and valuable pennies to be aware of, and the 1984 double die is part of a broader group of collectible Lincoln cents. Others include the 1955 double die, the 1969 S double die, the 1972 double die, and the 1995 double die. These coins all share one thing in common: significant, eye-visible doubling on the obverse. The 1984 version stands out because it was minted in Philadelphia, and unlike the Denver or San Francisco coins, Philadelphia coins did not bear a mint mark at the time. So if you see a 1984 penny without a mint mark, that's actually expected. A 1984 D, Denver, or 1984's San Francisco proof is only valuable if it also carries some sort of unusual variety or error. So how can you tell if you have a valuable 1984 penny? First, grab a magnifying glass. Examine Lincoln's ear. If it looks like he has a doubled earlobe, like a ghost ear beneath the main one, you may be looking at the 1984 doubled die. Don't confuse this with post-mint damage, though. A genuine doubled die will show clean, raised doubling in the same direction and will match known examples cataloged by numismatic experts. Second, check the coin's color and condition. Red pennies that haven't been circulated, meaning they still retain their original copper color, are more valuable. Most pennies in your pocket have oxidized to a brown or red-brown tone, which lowers their value. Third, consider getting the coin graded. Third-party graders like PCGS and NGC can confirm if your coin is a true doubled die and assign it a condition grade. This is crucial if you plan to sell it at auction or to a serious collector. Fourth, stay informed about the market. Coin values fluctuate based on collector demand, economic conditions, and even trends in social media. What sells for $500 today might go for $2,000 next year, especially if more people start collecting and fewer high-grade examples are available. Let's touch briefly on the copper content as well. Another point of interest for collectors is the metal composition of the penny. Up until 1982, Lincoln cents were made of 95% copper. Starting mid-1982, the U.S. Mint transitioned to a primarily zinc coin with a thin copper coating. The 1984 penny is a zinc-based coin, which means it weighs 2.5 grams compared to the older 3.11 gram copper pennies. While this doesn't directly influence its value as a collectible, it's an important fact for anyone searching rolls or weighing coins to identify errors or transitional anomalies. One question that often comes up is, are there other errors from 1984 worth noting? Yes. Aside from the famous doubled die, there are some minor varieties and mint errors such as off-center strikes, die cracks, die clashes, and clipped planchets. These are typically worth less than the doubled die variety, but depending on the severity and uniqueness of the error, they can still command premiums from specialized collectors. A 1984 penny that is struck 10% off-center, for example, might be worth $20 to $50. A more dramatic off-center strike or a coin struck on the wrong planchet, say, a dime planchet, could be worth hundreds. But again, nothing in the legitimate coin collecting world justifies the $654 million figure you may have seen floating around online. There's no auction, dealer, or serious collector on the planet who has paid or will pay that sum for a 1984 penny. Still, the allure of the unknown persists. It's part of what makes coin collecting so fascinating. Every so often, a new discovery rocks the numismatic world. A previously unknown variety surfaces, a coin thought to be extinct is found in a private collection, or a mint error that no one had documented turns up in a roll of bank-wrapped coins. So could a truly one-of-a-kind 1984 penny ever be discovered, something so rare, so unique, that it becomes a $1 million coin? It's unlikely, but never impossible. That's the thrill. And that's why, even today, people search their jars of change, pour through coin rolls, and sift through estate sales, hoping to find that one coin that changes everything. Before you toss your change into a jar, take one more look. Examine your 1984 pennies. Look for doubling. Look for mint errors. Look for off-center strikes, clipped planchets, or unusual surfaces. You might just find a piece of American history worth far more than 1 cent. So, is the 1984 penny worth $654 million? No, but could it be worth thousands? Yes. Could it ignite your passion for coin collecting? Absolutely. Because every coin tells a story. And some stories are worth more than money. The 1994 Lincoln penny is one of the most iconic yet underappreciated coins in the U.S. monetary system. Minted as part of the long-running Lincoln cent series that began in 1909, the 1994 penny might seem like just another modern coin in your change jar. But what if I told you that some versions of this penny have fetched absolutely jaw-dropping prices at auctions, with rumored values even hitting the astonishing figure of $654 million? That's right, the humble 1-cent piece from 1994 could, under rare and extraordinary circumstances, be worth more than an entire private island, a fleet of luxury yachts, or even some NBA franchises. To understand why, we have to go back and look at what makes the 1994 Lincoln penny special. First, the basics. The 1994 penny features the familiar profile of President Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, designed by Victor David Brenner. The reverse, showing the Lincoln Memorial, was designed by Frank Gasparo. The coin was struck primarily in copper-plated zinc, a composition that replaced the earlier bronze alloy in 1982 due to rising copper costs. Most 1994 pennies were minted in Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco, each indicated by a corresponding mint mark. No mint mark for Philadelphia, D for Denver, and S for San Francisco. Now, most of the 1994 pennies in circulation today are worth their face value, 1 cent. But that doesn't tell the full story. In the world of numismatics, the study and collection of coins, value is determined by a mixture of rarity, condition, mint errors, historical significance, and collector demand. And the 1994 penny ticks more of those boxes than you might expect. First, consider the numbers. The U.S. Mint produced over 6.5 billion pennies in 1994 across all 3 mint locations. The vast majority of these are unremarkable, but a tiny fraction of them include mint errors, misstrikes, doubled dies, off-center strikes, and even planchet errors that make them extremely rare and sought after by collectors. A doubled die, for instance, is a coin that has been struck by a die that has a misaligned duplication of the image. These errors can be subtle or dramatic, but when found, they often multiply the coin's value exponentially. A particularly famous example is the 1994 double die penny, where letters and numbers like "In God We Trust" or "Liberty" show clear doubling under magnification. Only a few of these are known to exist in pristine condition, and collectors have paid thousands, sometimes tens of thousands, for a high-grade specimen certified by professional grading services like PCGS or NGC. But what elevates a coin to the mythical level of a $654 million valuation? For that, we must delve into the realm of extreme rarity and legendary provenance. One rumored specimen of the 1994 penny supposedly bears a unique combination of traits: a San Francisco mint mark on a business strike coin, a dramatic double die obverse, and a planchet made of solid copper instead of copper-plated zinc. Such a coin, if authenticated, would not only be a once-in-a-lifetime discovery but potentially the only one of its kind in existence. The story goes that this coin was struck in error during a transitional period and somehow escaped the mint's quality controls. While mainstream numismatic authorities have never officially confirmed a $654 million sale, stories and myths surrounding ultra-rare coins often gain traction due to private collectors, undisclosed transactions, or speculative headlines. These stories contribute to the lore and increase public fascination with even mundane pocket change. In essence, it's the treasure hunt that captivates people. The idea that a simple penny in your pocket could be a key to unimaginable wealth. Let's talk a bit more about mint marks and their importance. The mint mark tells us where the coin was produced, and this has a direct impact on its value and collectability. For example, coins with an S mint mark from San Francisco are often proof coins, specially struck for collectors with extra attention to detail. These are not typically released into general circulation, so finding one with an error, or in an unusual finish, can significantly increase its value. Meanwhile, the D mint mark from Denver and the no mint mark Philadelphia coins are usually more common, but that doesn't mean they're worthless. On the contrary, errors found on these coins can sometimes be even more valuable because of their unexpected nature. There are also pennies with off-metal errors, coins struck on the wrong type of planchet. Imagine finding a 1994 penny struck on a dime planchet, or even a foreign coin planchet. These minting mistakes are exceptionally rare and can command premium prices at auction. It's not unusual for such coins to sell for 5 figures or more if they're authenticated and in high grade. Now let's talk about grading. Coin condition is assessed on a 70-point scale called the Sheldon scale. A penny graded MS-60 is considered mint state but with some imperfections, while MS-70 is a perfect, flawless coin. The higher the grade, the more a coin is worth, especially when dealing with rare varieties or errors. For example, a regular 1994 penny might fetch just a few cents in MS-65 condition, but a doubled die in MS-67 could bring in thousands. And if it's the legendary $654 million piece? That would likely be in perfect condition, or as close to it as humanly possible. But the story doesn't end there. The 1994 Lincoln penny also reflects an important era in coin minting. The early 90s saw continued experimentation with materials, increasing automation in the minting process, and growing interest from both amateur and professional collectors. Many people began hoarding coins from everyday circulation in the hope of future value. And indeed, as time goes on, more 1994 pennies are lost, damaged, or discarded, making pristine examples rarer and potentially more valuable. Let's also not forget the cultural and historical value. Lincoln is the only U.S. president to appear on both sides of a coin, the obverse with his bust, and the reverse with the Lincoln Memorial. This dual representation is a nod to his lasting legacy and the respect he commands in American history. For many, collecting Lincoln cents is not just a hobby, it's a tribute to a man who shaped the nation. The market for rare pennies has only grown over time. Collectors scour eBay, estate sales, flea markets, and coin shows hoping to stumble upon that one elusive gem. Some people have literally turned pocket change into million-dollar fortunes. And while most 1994 pennies will never exceed their face value, the thrill of the hunt keeps the legend alive. The mere possibility that a $654 million treasure could be lying in a forgotten coin jar is enough to fuel dreams and drive passions across generations. In recent years, reports of rare coins selling for astronomical sums have created waves across social media and news outlets. Headlines proclaiming, "Rare penny sells for millions," ignite viral interest, and for good reason. The combination of historical intrigue, rarity, and massive valuation makes for an irresistible story. Whether or not the $654 million figure is grounded in fact, it symbolizes the incredible allure that coins, especially seemingly ordinary ones like the 1994 penny, can have when wrapped in mystery and possibility. So next time you receive change at the store, take a closer look. Check for mint marks. Examine the date. Look for errors. You never know, you might just be holding a slice of numismatic history worth a life-changing sum. Whether you're a seasoned collector or a curious beginner, the story of the 1994 penny is a reminder that even the smallest coin can carry a big story. Maybe even a $654 million story. And that is the incredible tale of the 1994 Lincoln penny, its history, its mysteries, and the mind-blowing value it could potentially hold. Keep your eyes open, because fortune favors the observant. You just might find the next legendary coin in your own pocket. Have you ever picked up a penny and wondered if it might be worth more than just 1 cent? Maybe you've heard stories of rare coins fetching thousands, even millions of dollars at auction. Well, today we're diving deep into one such coin, the 2002 Lincoln penny. This is a coin that has generated quite a bit of buzz in the numismatic world and across social media. Some claim it's worth as much as $654 million. Sounds unbelievable, right? So let's get to the bottom of it. Is the 2002 Lincoln penny really worth a fortune? Is it rare? What's the story behind the mint mark? And why are collectors talking about it? To understand the full picture, we need to step back in time and examine not only the specific coin in question, but also the broader context of Lincoln pennies and the United States mint's practices. The Lincoln cent has a long and storied history. It was first introduced in 1909 to commemorate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. Designed by Victor David Brenner, it was the first regular-issue U.S. coin to feature a real person, and what better choice than Lincoln, one of the most revered presidents in American history. Originally, the reverse side of the coin featured 2 wheat stalks and was known as the wheat penny. This design ran from 1909 until 1958. Then, in 1959, to celebrate the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth, The reverse was changed to show the Lincoln Memorial in Washington, D.C. This is the design you see on the 2002 D penny. In 2010, the design was changed again to the Union Shield, but we'll focus today on the era just before that change. Now, the 2002 D Lincoln penny is part of the Memorial Reverse series. The D Mint mark indicates that it was struck at the Denver Mint. The Denver Mint is one of the main production facilities of the U.S. Mint, and it's known for producing millions, sometimes billions, of coins every year. In 2002 alone, the Denver Mint produced over 3.5 billion Lincoln pennies. That's billion with a B. So the 2002 D penny is not rare by production volume. In fact, it's extremely common. You can still find it in circulation today. So why are people claiming that a single 2002 D penny could be worth hundreds of millions of dollars? That's a good question. The short answer is misinformation and hype. There are rumors and viral posts floating around the internet claiming that a rare error coin from 2002 with the Denver Mint mark sold for hundreds of millions, or that it contains a secret minting flaw. But these claims are not supported by any verifiable auction data or expert numismatic sources. No reputable coin auction house, not Heritage Auctions, not Stack's Bowers, not PCGS or NGC, has ever listed a 2002 D penny anywhere near that value. In fact, most 2002 D pennies are only worth face value. However, there are some rare exceptions that can fetch a few dollars, or even a few hundred, under very specific conditions. Let's talk about what those conditions are. First, the coin would have to be in pristine condition. In the coin collecting world, this is called mint state. The best grade possible is MS70, which means the coin is flawless under 5x magnification. Coins graded MS65 and higher can sell for a premium. A 2002 D Lincoln penny graded MS67 read by PCGS or NGC might sell for $30 to $60, depending on demand. That's a nice return on a 1-cent piece, but still a long way from $654 million. Second, there are certain types of minting errors that can increase a coin's value. These include double dies, off-center strikes, clipped planchets, broad strikes, and coins struck on the wrong metal planchets. There have been some 2002 Lincoln cents with minor doubling or off-center strikes, but these usually only fetch a small premium, maybe $5 to $100 depending on the severity and the grade. Coins struck on foreign planchets or transitional metals are much rarer and can command high prices, but there are no confirmed examples of a 2002 D penny with such an error. So where did this rumor of a $654 million penny come from? The most likely explanation is that it started as a joke or a satirical article and spiraled out of control. Sometimes eBay listings show ridiculous prices for common coins, hoping to bait uninformed buyers. A seller might list a regular penny for $1 million, knowing it won't sell, just to draw attention to their page. These listings are not legitimate sales and should not be taken as market value. No actual coin collector or dealer is paying anywhere near that for a 2002 D penny. Let's say someone did find a 2002 D penny with an unusual feature. Maybe it was struck on a dime planchet, or it has a dramatic off-center strike, and they got it professionally graded and authenticated. Could it be worth something? Yes, in a rare case like that, it might sell at auction for a few hundred or even a few $1,000s. But $654 million? Not even close. That's more than most major sports franchises are worth. That's more than the GDP of some small countries. It's just not realistic for a 1-cent coin that exists in the billions. Now, that's not to say you shouldn't check your change. Coin collecting can be fun, educational, and sometimes profitable. Every year, new varieties and errors are discovered. The key is to educate yourself, use reputable resources, and verify any claims you see online. If you think you've found an unusual penny, the best course of action is to compare it to examples listed on sites like PCGS, NGC, or CoinWeek. You can also take it to a local coin dealer or coin show for a professional opinion. And remember, just because a coin is old or shiny or has a D mint mark, that doesn't automatically make it valuable. So let's recap. The 2002 D Lincoln penny was minted in huge numbers, over 3.5 billion coins. It features the familiar image of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. It was struck at the Denver Mint and is made primarily of zinc with a thin copper plating. Most of these coins are only worth their face value, 1 cent. However, if you find a high-grade example in mint state, especially MS67 red or better, you might be able to sell it for $30 to $60. If you find a dramatic error, the value could be higher, maybe even hundreds of dollars. But there are no verified cases of a 2002 D penny being worth anywhere near $654 million, and yet this rumor persists. Why? Because people love the idea of striking it rich from something so ordinary. We want to believe that the penny in our pocket could be a hidden treasure. It's the same appeal as buying a lottery ticket, a tiny investment for the dream of a massive payoff. But in reality, coin values are determined by a combination of rarity, condition, demand, and documented sales. If you want to seriously get into coin collecting, you should study the history, learn to recognize real mint errors, and understand how grading works. There's a whole world of fascinating coins out there, and many of them have real historical significance and market value. But it takes research and realism to separate fact from fiction. So next time someone tells you their 2002 D penny is worth hundreds of millions, you'll know the truth. It's a fun story, but it doesn't hold up to scrutiny. That being said, don't stop looking through your change. There are genuine treasures out there, but they don't come with viral clickbait prices. They come with knowledge, patience, and a little bit of luck. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this deep dive into the world of Lincoln cents, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more coin history, collecting tips, and myth-busting episodes like this. Stay curious, stay informed, and happy collecting.